The school auditorium glowed with warm stage lights, humming with the kind of excitement that only proud parents can create. People filled the seats early, holding up phones, checking camera angles, whispering to each other about how their children had practiced for weeks. The air carried a sense of something special, like the whole room was waiting for a moment worth remembering. Backstage, my daughter Emma, just 9 years old, with her quiet confidence and her violin case hugged tightly to her chest, stood among the other young musicians. She had spent 6 long months practicing Mozart's Concerto No. 3, working through late evenings filled with frustration, tears, and determination. She wanted that excellence award her teacher hinted she had a chance at, and she had worked for it with every bit of strength she had. I saved a seat in the 3rd row for my mother, the one closest to the aisle so she could see Emma clearly. Emma had called her 3 days earlier, voice bright and hopeful. "Grandma, I'm getting an award. Will you come watch me play?" Mom had promised she'd be there. She said she wouldn't miss it. 10 minutes before the ceremony, I checked my phone again. The seat stayed empty. 5 minutes before the lights dimmed, my phone buzzed. "Can't make it. Your sister's kids need me more. Sarah has a dentist appointment and needs someone to watch the other 2. You understand?" I stared at the screen until the words blurred, even though I understood all too well. Sarah lived only 20 minutes from Mom. Her 3 kids were loud, wild, always needing attention because both she and her husband worked long hours. But Emma's ceremony had been set for weeks. Mom had confirmed twice. Her empty seat sat beside me like a reminder I didn't ask for. I typed back, "Understood." The lights dimmed. Parents settled into their seats, whispering quiet encouragement. The young musicians walked onto the stage and Emma stepped out with her violin, eyes searching the room. She spotted me first, then looked at the seat next to me, the one that stayed empty. Her smile dipped for a brief moment, but she straightened her back, lifted her chin, and took her place as if she had practiced rising above disappointment, just as carefully as she practiced her music. Then she played, beautifully. Every note rang clear, warm, and confident. The melody filled the room and seemed to reach every corner. When the conductor announced her Excellence Award, she walked forward with calm grace, accepted the certificate, and bowed as applause thundered through the space. I clapped until my hands ached, giving her the strength of 2 people. In the lobby afterward, Emma hurried to me, clutching her violin case. "Did Grandma get lost?" she asked softly. "Is that why her seat was empty?" "She couldn't make it, sweetheart. She had to help Aunt Sarah," I said gently. Emma nodded, looking at the certificate in her hands, her excitement fading into something quieter. She whispered that Grandma would want to hear about it later. I hugged her tightly and told her I was sure she would. But my chest felt heavy because I knew that wasn't true. We went for ice cream to celebrate, though Emma ate hers slowly, glancing at her phone as if hoping a message would pop up that said congratulations. None came. That night, after she went to bed, I sat in my small home office and opened my laptop. I pulled up my banking app, staring at the list of automatic payments I'd been making for 4 years, ever since Dad died, and Mom claimed she couldn't survive on her fixed income. I had taken over quietly, without complaint. Electric bill, $135 a month. I'd been paying it. Water and sewage, $80 a month. I'd been paying that too. Internet and cable, $160 a month. I covered that so she'd stay connected. Natural gas, $90 in winter, $40 in summer. Paid by me. Trash service, $45 monthly. Mine again, home security, $55 every month, for 48 straight months, every payment recorded in my spreadsheet. Every dollar tracked. 4 years of support totaling $24,240. Mom had Dad's pension and her Social Security, enough to cover her home and bills, but she had insisted she couldn't keep up with utilities. So I took over. She never thanked me, never mentioned it. She simply lived comfortably while I quietly handled the costs. And tonight, she chose to babysit Sarah's kids for the 3rd time this week instead of watching her granddaughter receive an award Emma had practiced half a year for. I opened each utility account one by one. I canceled every automatic payment. Then I emailed each company, explaining that charges must be transferred back to the account holder, my mother. I saved confirmation numbers and screenshots. After that, I wrote a clear letter explaining that all financial support was ending immediately. The next morning, I drove Emma to school. She stayed quiet, still holding her phone as if waiting for a message that wasn't coming. As we pulled into the drop-off line, she finally spoke. "Mom, does Grandma like Aunt Sarah's kids more than me?" My hands tightened around the steering wheel. She's always with them. She goes to all their stuff. She talks about them at Christmas. But she forgot my ceremony. I told her Grandma didn't forget, she chose something else. Emma nodded slowly, trying to understand, because they're more important. No, baby. Because Grandma made a bad choice. It had nothing to do with Emma's worth. She gave me a tiny smile and walked into school, her violin case bumping gently against her leg. Mom didn't call that day. Or the next, but on the third morning, my phone began ringing at 7 a.m. Mom's name flashed across the screen again and again. I let every call go to voicemail. By noon, I had 11 missed calls and a dozen texts moving from confused to panicked. The electric company says my payment didn't go through. Why is my internet not working? The water company left a shutoff. Notice. Something is wrong. Call me back. I answered that evening. She didn't even say hello, her voice sharp and frantic. I don't understand. The electric company called saying the payment was canceled. Then the internet company said the same. Now I have shut-off notices. Did someone steal my identity? No one stole anything. Mom, I canceled the payments. Silence stretched between us. Then she demanded to know what payments I was talking about. I explained carefully. 4 years of utility bills, electric, water, internet, gas, trash, security system. All of it paid by me, $55 every single month for 48 months. $24,240 in total. She sputtered, saying they were her bills, that they came to her house. She insisted she didn't understand. I reminded her of every time she babysat Sarah's kids for hours. Every school event she attended for them. Every moment she chose them over Emma. Even last night, she tried to defend herself, saying Sarah's kids were younger. I told her Emma needed her too. That Emma had saved her a seat. That she looked for her. That she asked if Grandma got lost. Mom said she had apologized. I told her she hadn't. She'd sent a text saying Sarah's kids needed her more. No apology. No message for Emma. Nothing. Then I told her she could keep focusing on Sarah's kids. That I was done paying for everything while she treated my daughter like she wasn't important. She exploded, calling it insane. Sad I couldn't stop paying her utilities. I reminded her they were in her name. At her house. Her bills, and she had the money to pay them. She said she was on a fixed income. I told her I was too. With a mortgage. A child to raise. A job to keep. And the extra $500 a month I'd been giving her was over now. She said the electric company wanted $415 to restore service. $415? That's 3 months of backed up payments plus fees. I don't have that kind of money just sitting around. Then I suggest you call Sarah. Maybe she can help. Her kids need you more after all. I hung up. The calls didn't stop. Mom tried 12 more times that evening. It blocked her number temporarily just to have peace while I made dinner with Emma. Is Grandma okay? Emma asked, noticing my phone face down on the counter. She's fine. She's just dealing with some bills she forgot to pay. Oh, do you think she called to hear about me award? I looked at my daughter's shopeful face and felt something harden in my chest. I don't know, sweetheart, she never did call about the award. On day 4, my sister Sarah called. What did you do to Mom? She's freaking out. She says you cut off all her utilities. I stopped paying her bills. She can pay them herself. You were paying her bills since when? 4 years. Almost $25,000 total. Did you know that when you kept asking her to babysit? Silence. I know. I thought she was just home anyway. She always said yes because I was paying her utilities, giving her financial breathing room. Now I'm not. She has the money to cover them. Sarah, she just has to actually pay them instead of spending it on other things. But she doesn't have power. How is she supposed to live without electricity? The same way she'd live if I'd never started paying in the first place. She has social security and a pension. She can afford her utilities. She just has to prioritize them. This is because she missed Emma's ceremony, isn't it? This is because she chose to miss Emma's ceremony. After confirming twice, she'd better because Emma looked for her in the audience and saw an empty seat because she texted me. Not Emma to say your kids needed her more. This isn't a Boutoni event, Sarah. It's about years off watching mom prioritize your family while taking my financial support for granted. So you're punishing her because you're jealous? I'm stopping genubling her. There's a difference. If she wants to spend all her time and energy on your kids, that's her choice. But she can do it on her own dime, not mine. Sarah hung up on me.
Day 6.
Mom showed up at my house. She looked
exhausted.
Her hair wasn't styled, and she wore the same clothes I'd seen her in 2 days before. I paid their connection fees, she said before I could speak. $870 total for everything. Do you know how much that hurt my savings? No, but I know how much $24,000 hurt mine. I didn't ask you to pay me utilities. You told me you couldn't afford them. You said you were struggling, so I helped for 4 years. And you never once said thank you. You just kept taking and taking while spending your time and attention on Sarah's kids. So, this is about favoritism. You're upset because I spend time with Sarah's children. I'm upset because Yao abandoned Emma during one of the most important moments of her young life. She worked for 6 months for that award. Mom. 6 months of practice, frustration, and determination. And you couldn't give her 2 hours. But you can give Sarah 6 hours a week, every single week. Sarah needs help. She works full-time. So do I beauty've never asked you to babysit Emma? Do you know why? Because you've made it clear where your priorities are. So I stopped asking. I handled everything myself, including your utility bills, while you play grandmother of the year to Sarah's kids. This is so unfair. What's unfair is Emma asking me if grandma likes her cousins more than her. What's unfair is explaining to a 9-year-old why her grandmother chose Tobe instead of watching her perform. What's unfair is me paying your bills for 4 years, while you treat my child like an afterthought. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I said I was sorry. No, you didn't? Not to Emma, not to me. You sent a text saying Sarah's kids needed you more, and you've never acknowledged how it felt. You just expect everything to go back to normal. But it won't. I'm done paying your bills. I'm done making excuses for why you're not available for Emma. I'm done pretending this is okay. So, that's it. You're cutting me off completely. I'm cutting off financial support. If you want a relationship with Emma, you're welcome to build one. But it has to be real. Not texts saying you'll come and then bailing. Not promises you don't keep, and definite comparisons about which grandchildren need you more. She left without another word. A week later, Emma asked if she could call Grandma to tell her about her next violin competition. You can try. I said carefully, immaculate, Mom answered. They talked for 11 minutes. I heard Emma's side of the conversation, excited, hopeful, explaining about the competition next month. Mom apparently said she'd try to calm. After Emma hung up, I knelt down to her level. Sweetheart, if Grandma says she come but doesn't show up, I need you to understand that's about Grandma's choices, not about you. You're talented and wonderful and worthy of having people show up for you. Okay, Mom. She paused. But you'll better, right? Always. Front row, making gun noise for 10 people. She grinned and hugged me. Mom's utilities stay done. She paid them herself now. Complaining to Sarah about the expense. Sarah mentioned it to me once, sounding resentful. As if I'd done something wrong by ending a financial arrangement Mom had never acknowledged or appreciated. I didn't argue. I just lived my life, attended Emma's events, and kept my phone bill, my electric bill, and my financial boundaries exactly where they belonged in my control. Not subsidizing someone else's comfort while they treated my child as less than. Emma's next competition is in 3 weeks. I bought tickets, front row, center, 2 seats. One is definitely full, the other is up to mom. But either way, Emma will perform for a parent who shows up, pays her own bills, and doesn't confuse financial support with love. I learned that lesson the hard way.